I love you, but we cannot see a way that you can live under this roof if you're going to fundamentally go against the grain of our beliefs. Jared, tell me the truth, that's all.
I think about men.
You want to say your goodbyes?
Welcome to the Refuge Program.
You cannot be born a homosexual. This is a lie. It's a choice.
I'm gonna give you some advice. Tell them whatever they want to hear. Play the part, unless you really think you can change, or even want to.
Boy Erased is written and directed by Joel Edgerton, and this is another one of my catch-up movies from last year. This was a movie that a lot of people thought would potentially be an Oscar contender in a couple of categories, and I don't think it ended up being, if I remember correctly, but that's beside the point. The film follows Lucas Hedges as he portrays a real-life young gay man who lives in a very religious household, and his father is a pastor and car salesman, and his parents sent him to one of those conversion therapy camps. Before I get into the actual review, I do want to throw out my normal disclaimer for those of the uninitiated. The way that I convey my thoughts on a movie is that I do a pro and con list. It helps me compartmentalize the good and the bad, in my opinion. And while I do try to keep the sections separate, hey, if I can find a pro and a con that work together, or maybe they're intrinsically tied together, I'll mix and match all day. I don't care. But yeah, mostly I try to keep those separate. Okay, there's your disclaimer. And let's go ahead and get into my review of Boy Erased. I have given my opinion in the past on Lucas Hedges. I've always felt that I've seen him in way too many Oscar baiting movies, and because he's not as talented as whoever his co-stars are at the time, you know, it just, ugh. Like, okay, for instance, like when you see us acting against somebody like Frances McDermott because, you know, they work together in 3 Billboards, you can see the wide gap. You can tell that there's a big difference in how he, or in his talent level and everybody else's. It's like when I was talking about Aladdin, how the guy playing Aladdin, Mina Masood, just was not on the same level as everybody else. But anyway, in this film, I've got to say, he was actually pretty good. I don't think he was good enough to get an acting nomination from the Academy, even though this performance was better than the one that he gave in Manchester by the Sea, which he was nominated for. But he's definitely showed to me that he can be a solid actor, especially if he keeps learning from his more experienced co-stars. Not only does Joel Edgerton direct this film, but he also acts in it. He shows up as the man who actually runs the conversion camp that Lucas Hedges' character goes through. And I thought he did an admirable job acting. I don't think I've ever not particularly liked his performances, but he definitely shines more in the direction in this film. There was a film that he did a couple of years ago, his directorial debut, called The Gift, and that was an incredibly directed horror movie for a first-time director, and he brought a bit of what he learned from that film and utilized that feeling of dread and horror in a few sequences where the other kids forced to go into the camp are being tormented simply because they aren't following instructions or they just simply slip up naturally. Russell Crowe and Nicole Kidman portray both the parents, and I thought they did pretty good, but I lean a little bit more towards Kidman because I've just enjoyed her body of work more than I have Russell Crowe's. And also, I always feel like even in the smallest role or smallest movie, Nicole Kidman always finds a way to stand out, even if it's just for a few seconds where you look at her and think, oh my god, that was fucking awesome. She definitely gets a moment or two like that in this movie. The film also had an overall theme to it, if you read between the lines, and it's about how much easier it is to follow lines in a piece of paper or in a book rather than go out and challenge yourself and your viewpoints. And the film did touch on why doing that, challenging yourself in that sense, can leave a positive marking in you, and I did actually really like that part. I do have one con. I don't know, I wasn't able to fully immerse myself in this movie because it felt like a standard Oscar bait movie where most everything was good. So, you know, it wasn't anything too special, but I will say that I feel like despite all the time we get with Lucas Hedges' character, I don't feel like we are ever really given a grasp on how he feels about everything. It just mostly feels surface level with his character. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Boy Erased. In the end, it wasn't my type of film. I do see where others can watch it and think, this movie was really great, but to me, though my thoughts on it are for the majority positive. Hello, I just had a dog lick my hand. It still didn't leave me with very much of an impact, and it just felt like, you know, a standard Oscar bait movie. You know, I definitely recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it, but I personally don't think I'll be watching it again. Not because it's too heavy-hitting, but just, I don't really care to. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't hesitate to hit that like button. And please, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with everything that's going on the channel and so that you can help support the channel even further. Farewell until the next video, all you moviegoers, casual moviegoers, and movie fans alike, and keep on being awesome.